going to be showing you how to make two 2.5-inch Y blocks. To make our Y blocks, we will need one half square triangle that's been made using our incredibly easy half square triangle method, and one square piece of contrasting fabric measuring 4.5 inches. If you haven't already watched our video on making half square triangles, I suggest you pause this video, watch making half square triangles, and then resume this video for the remainder of the lesson. You can find our video on Easy Build half square triangles by visiting our website, queenofstitching.com, and then selecting the Videos tab from the top menu bar. So let's get back to our Y blocks. I already have my 2.5-inch design downloaded to my sewing machine. Whenever we send one of the 15 designs that is included in this set to our machine, we need to remember that the 1/4 inch seam allowance is already built into the design. I have waffle stabilizer stretched into my hoop. I like to use this stabilizer for this project because it tears away more easily than any of the other stabilizers I'm familiar with. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start on the first of our two color changes. As I stitch, I want you to notice that I'm only stitching on stabilizer, and when we're finished, none of the lines that are on the stabilizer are going to be included in your finished Y block. And there you have it. We've now completed color change 1. So I'm going to take my hoop out of my machine and clip the threads to give you a better view. So what I would like you to see is that the two diagonal lines are different. The longer line is the placement guide for our half square triangle, and the shorter line is the cutting guide. Now I'm going to place the fabric in position. I always iron my fabric and apply a couple of coats of Mary Ellen's Best or spray starch before bringing my fabric to the machine. I do this because it keeps the fabric from slipping around while my block is being made. I'm going to start by placing my half square triangle into position. When we're making our Y blocks, it's important to note that they do not require a specific size half square triangle. The half square triangle needs to be only as large as the outer edge of the stitched guide, which are these lines that form the outside box. The Y block package includes 4 different size options for half square triangles. All you need to do is select the size family that corresponds to the size of the Y block you are making. The 1-inch half square triangle that is included with the Y blocks is large enough to use for the 1, 1.25, 1.5, and 1 3/4 inch Y block designs. The same is true for the 2, 3, and 4-inch half square triangles that are included in the set. Now I'm going to begin placing my half square triangle into position. I'm going to position it with the seam going along the placement line. Now that it's down, I'm going to lift the corner and see how closely I've come. And what I see is I need to move over just a bit so that my line follows right along with the placement guide. I'll check the other side. And see that that line is really pretty close. There we go. And now that I'm in position, I'm going to take a few pieces of transparent tape and I'm going to use them to hold the half square triangles in place while we position the second piece of fabric. This is the 4.5 inch fabric square that I mentioned we would need in the beginning. I'm going to place it right side down, centering it over the half square triangle. Now that I have all of my fabric in place, I'll stitch out color change 2. As I sew out color change 2, I will keep the fabric smoothed in front of the needle. Always make sure that you keep your fingers out of the needle's path. And that concludes the stitching portion for creating Y blocks. We've repositioned our camera and taken our fabric out of the hoop, and we're ready to begin the final phase of our project. We've placed our fabric on our cutting mat upside down so the stabilizer and the cutting guides are visible. The first thing we're going to do is trim the sides, and we do that by lining our ruler up with the very edge that was stitched. I like to line one of my solid lines up along the bottom line when I start, so that I can make sure that I have a nice true square when I have finished cutting. So we'll cut the first side, the second side, the third side, and the final side. Now we're ready to make the last cut. The way we're going to do this is we will take our 1/4 inch ruler line and place it along the stitching line, which leaves the edge of the ruler to go right across the diagonal center, which is our cutting line. We cut through this and we finish. I'm going to remove my stabilizer by folding against the line, giving it a quick finger press, flipping it back and holding my thumb against the stitching line, and just separating it off, and then flipping out the back part as well. And the reason for keeping your finger against the stitching line is to protect your stitches. Now I'm going to give it a quick press, first pressing the seam to set it, and then flipping it open with the seam going towards the dark, giving it a quick press and removing what's left of our transparent tape. And there you have it, 2 Y blocks, and I hope that after watching this you too can say that really was incredibly easy.